Concretepastures.
That's right. Hello, family. Welcome back to Concrete Pastures. On today's podcast, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. We do not take it for granted. If you haven't subscribed already, again, my people, what are you waiting on? Subscribe, like, and share all of our videos, all of the links, all the things that we do share. This way we can have amazing guests like the one we have today. For anybody who's new, this is the platform where we highlight immigrants who have relocated to different countries in search of greener pastures. We share our stories of our various experiences and lessons we've learned along the way. We offer new perspective on the journey of an immigrant. So whether you're currently an immigrant, soon or later to be an immigrant, or just curious, come along with us on this journey as we get a better understanding of what it really means to be an immigrant. As always, subscribe, like, and share. Our guest today is, a keynote speaker, presenter, a corporate well-being coach, is a resilience trainer. She's so much more. A little bit about her. Her name is Viktoria Levay. She is a passionate, inspiring, and engaging well-being leader and health coach who supports organizations and individuals with stress and change management, mental health and organization communication, leadership, development, and implementation of sustainable lifestyle changes for higher functional performance and productivity. Her approach uniquely combines scientifically proven stress and energy management techniques with functional and life coaching practices. She is a keynote speaker, like I said, presenter and coach, and also she was recently featured on Fox8 Cleveland in 2024. Guys, for all of us who are into the health space, we have our fellow immigrant to share with us what has been working for her. So tune in, take some notes, and welcome, Vicky. How are you?
I am so good. And Nancy, thank you so much for having me. And I'm very excited. So cannot wait to dive in.
Oh, lovely, lovely. We always start from home. You are our first guest from Hungary, and I'm so honored to have you here. I know you have a tight, busy schedule. So it's such an honor to have you just to, pick your brain a little bit on how we can get better health-wise. As much as we are working so hard, stress is number one. So you're going to teach us on those things. But before we dive into what you do, please share with us how it was growing up in Hungary.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So, yes, I'm originally from Hungary. I grew up there for the first about, I don't know, up to my teenage years.
Nice.
And then I came to the US when I was 25. It's been quite a journey growing up in Hungary. I mean, it's just a different world in a sense of we had, Russian occupation, and my parents were pharmacists. So I kind of had that insight to the world of growing up in pharmacies and kind of like being familiar with that. And then kind of life took some kind of unexpected turns. And so that's what makes me more of, not sure I would use an immigrant, more of a nomad that we talked about. Is that it's really been a journey to what I'm doing right now through everything that happened. And along the way, I never really knew how it's all going to come together, but it did. So I just had to have the faith and trust that all my interests and passions and my life experiences will serve me to become kind of this wholesome person who I am today. So
it's amazing how things work together from the time you are young and you look at how life was before, and it's like, oh my God, that helped me prepare for this here.
Growing up in a small town in Hungary, I never thought that I would even leave town.
Oh, wow.
So being here in the US and working in a second language and working with hundreds and, reaching thousands of lives, and helping them and giving back regardless of their ethnic background or race, color, and really,
Yeah.
just anyone, human beings, that I can give back and support is really the biggest gift. But I
That's
would have never kind of imagined in certain ways.
lovely, lovely. So do you mind sharing with us how you got into this space? We're all juggling life, and life, sometimes does its own thing, and we end up having stress. I feel it in my shoulders a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Um, if you could just share with us your background about the experience and in the well-being space, how you
So
got into that.
I would like to share a little bit about kind of how I grew up and all those unexpected turns that kind of life presented me with, because
Yes.
that's really the how I got into it. So growing up in Hungary, my mom passed away when she was 40 and I was 10.
Oh,
And
so
even
sorry.
though my parents were in the healthcare system working as pharmacists, I kind of lost a lot of faith at that time in that she couldn't be saved. And even though she tried and they used medication, it just wasn't the solution for her. And so that kind of that was a big break in my life. And I just kept looking at, like, how can I kind of avoid that story? How can my story be different?
Yes.
And then I left my hometown when I was 14. I studied in Budapest
Mm.
because my father insisted that I had to get even better education. And so I had to go to capital city Budapest. And then continuing after, I traveled, I worked abroad. So I lived in England as an au pair, learned the language. Then I traveled to Australia. I lived in Australia for a year, worked kind of interesting things like did like racing greyhounds
Oh,
and
wow.
organizing events. And then I came back to Hungary, worked in the business field, and that's when I really experienced a lot of stress. And then when I came to the US for a while, I couldn't work. I was raising kids. And that's when my health all of a sudden started to fall apart.
Mm.
And so looking back, thinking, well, how can I? And the doctors were like, well, you can take this medication or that medication, but we really don't know what's going to work and what's going on. I had autoimmune issues, a handful of issues. And I was like, well, if you don't know what's going on and you're just kind of guessing the medication, I better really look at all what I've been through, my lifestyle choices. How can I be even healthier? Because I thought I was healthy. I was running, I was making home cooked meals and, eating organic, but it still wasn't the right food for me. And I wasn't doing the best for myself. And that's how I really started the health coaching and the well-being, being more mindful about my lifestyle when I was in my late 20s. Is that, okay, how can I heal my autoimmune issues? How can I get rid of my symptoms? What does it take? And what is really food as medicine? And what is really medicine? And so I certified to be a coach, a health coach. I started to work with individuals. Then I got into the corporate space.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I worked with corporations, the more they were like, okay, it's fine that you are talking about healthy foods, but everybody is stressed. What can you do about that? Or what can you say about that? And
Yeah.
so that's when I was like, okay, how can I really help people? Because if I just say go for a run or do yoga, that's not going to work in the moment when stress happens and when things just kind of blow out of proportions. So I certified through HeartMath, which is a California-based organization, scientifically proven techniques, and I love what they are teaching. But then I also use everything I've learned and have been doing through health coaching,
Mm.
because there are no one without the other. You need to have a healthy body and a healthy lifestyle to also be mindful and work on your stresses, because you have to support the physical body so that your spiritual well-being and your mental health is there too. So that's how I really got to where I am today, and I'm just very grateful to serve and help others.
So listen, stress is a big deal. I've shared this before here. I actually had to take a break from work in 2022 because of so much stress I had. I could feel it. I couldn't function. I had to take a break from the podcast, everything. Something was going on. I couldn't really put a finger on it, but I know that I was super stressed. So for a lot of us, especially our immigrant community, we work so much. We come and overwhelm ourselves into diving into work. And sometimes we don't even realize that you're going through stress. You just think that it's just challenges that are going on. How can people really try to manage? I know one answer does not fit all, because all of us deal with it differently. I want to be aware of that. Just as an example, like let's say for someone you worked with, how can somebody deal with simple steps that just to help you, let's say you're going, that could help on a day-to-day, let's say.
Okay. Well, yes, and I would like to acknowledge that an immigrant life is even more stressful, because we have to get used to a new culture. We're working, in another language, getting familiar, where we don't feel established. So there's a lot of stress that comes with it, and we come here to prove ourselves, really, and work even harder. So all of our achievements that may be normal for others, it's even more for us.
Yep.
And so, yes, there's a lot of stress, and we are away from home. So we are trying to become somebody, trying to figure out ourselves.
Yes.
And kind of reflecting back home, that's not home anymore, but this is not also, this isn't home either. So yes, there's a lot that comes with it, but I would say couple of things. Have a good morning routine that makes you feel good.
Okay.
Because if you have a solid routine, where you are, when you have time to just be a bit more mindful, do some breathing techniques, do meditation, listen to some good music, something that uplifts you, rather than even kind of like eyes half open, you are scrolling your text messages and emails, or
Social
putting the
media.
news on. That's already going to send you in such a survival state
Yeah.
that from then on, things will only get worse. So make sure that you give yourself the advantage of being in a good state of mind, so that you can deal with things. You know that when you are calmer, when you've had a good sleep, when you've had your cup of tea, you're hydrated, you ate something healthy if you're hungry, you're like, okay, I'll deal with things. It's easier. But when you are stressing about everything that happened yesterday, last week, 2 years ago, because we also love to do that, like rehash things.
Yep.
And then also kind of like worried about what you're going to have to do, and you didn't make notes, and you don't even know where your head is. And then there's the kids, the dog, the work, the running around. It's overwhelming. And then we are kind of just like reacting. And many times when we are just reacting, we make mistakes and we miscommunicate, we misunderstand messages, and then it's like texting back. So give yourself that good start, that everything else can wait, but you come first. And then as a health coach, I will tell you that, and just for even before you get out of bed, just take a few minutes to do some breathing, focus on your heart, and embrace an attitude that you want to feel for the day. So if it release the tension, so acknowledge how you feel, release it. It's not going to serve you. But just breathe in something like, courage or strength, or just peace or balance. Anything you feel, to make you feel, to feel stronger, will help you make decisions for the day and organize your day.
So for
And then,
example,
I'm
sorry.
sorry?
So for example, if let's say I'm feeling stressed, so I have to acknowledge that I'm feeling stressed.
Yes.
But then you want to feel courageous. I want to
Yes.
feel happy, at peace. So you invite those
Yes.
I guess words in.
So slow your breathing
The
down
feelings.
and
Yeah.
acknowledge how you feel and just release it. So when you exhale, just release it. Know that that's not gonna serve you. We all
Mm,
know that we don't operate our, on our best performance when we're stressed. So we have to calm ourselves and just release it and
mm,
say, what do you need today to be productive? Is it courage? Is it calmness? Is it peace? And then when you inhale, just breathe that in and feel it in your heart. The beautiful thing is that there are many breathing techniques out there, and they will help you physically. But when you really embrace an emotion, that will calm your nervous system down, because our emotions really run our nervous system and pretty much our whole body. So you know that when you feel calm, you're breathing slower, your digestion is so much better, your heart rate is even, and so we have to get to that peaceful place, and it will not come from thinking about it. It comes from feeling something powerful. And if it's gratitude, so here's the other thing. Many times, even just going to kind of a grateful place, like you had a good sleep, you have a comfortable bed, you are awake, you're alive, your heart is beating
mm.
for you, you've got your health, you've got your children, you have a job. I mean, anything that helps people center to kind of to help them.
No,
Does that help?
no, it does. It does. I actually used to write in my gratitude journal at night. And right now it's mostly in my prayers. I wake up. I have a morning routine. I would advise anybody who's going through anything. I think having a morning routine is imperative in life, at least for anybody. It has helped me a lot. When I don't wake up at 5, I feel off balance because I'm so used to doing my devotion. Everybody can do a different routine. For me, if I just to share, I do devotion and I do runs and walks at the same time. So it's summertime here. I go either for a run or really quick walks, or sometimes I just wake out at home. But I'm in my meditation process, because meditation doesn't mean you need to sit and just relax. If it works for you, it works for you. For me, meditation means just being by myself. That's my me time, and meditation, listening to things that calm me down, that bring me peace, that wakes me up into a different space than what the ones that I don't want to be in. So really, really great meditation, uplifting music. If that's what wakes you up, that what centers you, listen to that. Really good tips here um, that you've given. Um, Question to you: what are some of the approach? Because stress, I think, and mental health, those things go hand in hand. So,
Yes.
what are some of the optimizations that and strategies that you've done to support individuals in this area in terms of mental health?
So for mental health, I mean, as I say, just having, as you said, having your morning routine, having a schedule as much as you can is important. That gives us stability. Find what helps. If it's listening to some podcast, if it's listening to music, if it's meditation, if it's going for a walk, that's very helpful. For mental health, working on, well, two things. Working on our awareness.
Mm,
It always goes back to emotional awareness. or as I heard today, somebody said emotional elegance. So we
Oh,
are aware of our, I love that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, this morning I was listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza as I was I was on my walk. And I do like to listen to sometimes those uplifting, reassuring
Yep.
podcasts or talks. There are other times when I just put frequency music on because us being vibrational beings, frequency is very important. That's why us kind of like we our hearts resonate with others. Our
Mhm.
hearts actually have electromagnetic radiation, so we absorb our environment's energies. So it's important that we keep our vibration high. The higher that frequency is, the happier we are. So that's why I said no news, no text, no, nothing that brings you down. Uh,
I'm one of
music is
them. No
fantastic.
news.
Music is fantastic. So for mental health, knowing how you feel, that awareness and being able to letting that go is very important because too many people unfortunately feel anxious, depressed, worried, unhappy, and they don't know why because they don't work on themselves now. They don't know how to. They just accept that that's life.
Mhm.
So for mental health, that's a big chunk of working on ourselves or on our awareness, and also acknowledging that we always have a choice about how we feel about certain situations. Like, for me, incorporating having to walk the dog every morning. Many times it's a chore, but I always try to flip that script and say, okay, I am going to listen to my music. I'm going to incorporate things. I'm grateful that I have a reason to go outside and go for a walk early in the morning to start my day right. Again, it took me a little time to flip that, but it's a choice. So understanding when we always have a choice for everything and how we feel about things. And that's the other important element to mental health is we need to work on our gut health because serotonin is actually produced in our gut more than anywhere else. So about 90% of serotonin is produced in our gut. Our microbiome is huge and very influential on our health, on our mental health. And so if we eat junk, too much sugar, if we've got any over growth of any bacteria, viruses that are not under control, it will affect our mental health. It will cause inflammation. So of course, we are already experiencing a lot of setback. So understanding where our gut health is
Yes.
also just as important.
Really good. Just be aware, emotional elegance. I love that.
Yes.
Be aware of your serotonin and taking care of your gut. Um, how do people, how did you manage, I guess, to take sugar out of your diet? Because it seems to be, oh, because you mentioned sugar. I struggle with it now. I never used to struggle with sugar at all.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I started to drink coffee, I cannot drink coffee without sugar. Some days are better than others. So some days I have wins. Some days I'm just like, we're gonna put some sugar in there. It's too bitter. It's whatever. How can somebody get over the sugar? Like, what are
Good
some of the
question.
tips we can
Well,
do?
I think one of the things for me, especially, is when I make my lifestyle or my food choices, too many people feel sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if
Yep.
you are at that point, you will do anything not to feel like that. So that's one thing. We always like to get away with as much as we can. So if I can have a little bit of this and eat a little bit of that, but until you really feel the pain of not feeling well, you will always try to do something to kind of like treat yourself.
Mm.
So that's one. There's that, where is that point where you really just wanna feel better and make that decision that, okay, you deserve to feel better. Now, understanding what your healthy choices are and why you crave sugar is another thing. We crave sugar if we've got some imbalance in our gut. So if we've got some again, going back to the bacterial overgrowth, that will kind of send message to your brain to say, feed us more sugar, because that's what they thrive on. So know your gut health. If you can go on like a clean streak of, green juices, smoothies, green apples, salads, steamed vegetables, lean protein, good fats, you know that within a few days, you're actually not craving the sugar because you start to feel better on clean fuel. So kind of try to make that shift. Understand also, are you craving sugar because it's 10 p.m. and you're tired? And you then need to make the choice that I really should be going to bed because that's why I'm craving the sugar, the energy. Or the third, are you stressed? Many people automatically we are reaching for sugar when we are stressed.
Yes.
Because that's something that makes us feel relaxed. That's kind of an expanding. It makes us feel, yes, I say more relaxed. So if you are stressed, then kind of address stresses again. Or is it just a habit? Know the healthier alternatives. And also remind yourself that when you are stressed, you need to love yourself and not punish yourself with the snacks and the junk food that we like to reach for. And that's just human behavior. That's, everybody. I used to do that a lot more. Now I'm like trying to be really mindful. But, know the alternatives, know your triggers. Oh, and don't have it at home. So if it's at home, it's in front of you, it's available, there will be a good reason why you're going to reach for it. Have healthy recipes in front of you. Like, be prepared. That's the other thing. The way you can cut out sugar is try to crowd it out. So it's not all or nothing. You can also look at it this way. It is hard to make that shift or that transition or that big step without a transition to say, okay, no more sugar. We don't want to feel deprived. We still want to feel like we are enjoying life to the fullest possible. So make sure that, your fridge is full of healthy alternatives. Understand what your symptoms are and eat accordingly. Have a plan, have some recipes, do some meal prepping. That way, when you are hungry, you are going to reach for the healthy options. Because if it's chips you've got at home or ice cream and nothing prepared, that's what you're going to reach for. But when you get home after work and you've got some salads already made and some nice healthy dishes, you open the fridge. Oh, there's some food. I'm going to warm it up and I'm ready to go. You're not going to think about thinking like, yeah, but I've got ice cream. Like it's not an option because you've got something healthy in front of you. So that's one. One more, design your environment to succeed. So if you spend a lot of time in the kitchen, then make sure that you've got a blender, a juicer, you've got all the things that you need to make your healthy foods. And if you work outside of home, make sure that you meal prep. So you've got food to take with you, or you already have your office fridge with some foods packed. Like on a Monday, you can take in some ingredients or some meals that you will eat during the week. And hydrate. Make sure that you hydrate. That's the most important thing.
Really good tips here. I mean, I can attest to the sugar. I think the last time you and I spoke, I did tell you that I was on a Daniel fast.
Yes.
It does work when you go all green and cold turkey. So I went on Daniel fast. There's no sugar, there's no caffeine, no nothing except just vegetables and vegetables and vegetables. Not even. So that was 10 days. I came out of that. I mean, the first day I had a massive headache.
Yes.
I would not advise it for those coffee drinkers, because my sister had it for like 2, 3 days, had a headache, I can cut off coffee at any point. It's just I use it to wake myself up. Because I'm a tea drinker. But when it came to that, the headache was so massive the first day, and then
Mm-hmm.
the 9 days, it was great. I felt great. After I finished, it was actually hard to put sugar in my diet. And you just made me realize it become a habit
Yeah.
for me to use the sugar instead. And when I'm stressing, um, I would go for chocolate. I mean, they said dark chocolate is great, so I go.
Yeah.
You know, I can reward myself for working out today. I can reward myself. So the rewards also is what gets me. So for anybody who's like me, guys, you can cut it off. It's easy to cut it off if you're not too much into sugar. I was not too much into sugar. For those people who have too much sugar, who are into too much sugar, I don't know. Talk to coach over here. She should teach you how to do it. But meal preps during the Daniel fast actually is so true. I used to meal prep because I didn't want to eat anything else when I go to work. It was hard for me to not eat meat, not eat fish, especially fish. I eat a lot of fish.
Mm-hmm.
So the meal preps helped me a lot, and it helped me not eat out. It's actually even cheaper. And then designing your kitchen, I
Yes.
have I have air fryer, I have a bullet that I
Yeah.
use for my smoothies. So these are great tips. I can attest to them because they do work when I am disciplined, when I discipline myself, when I'm not falling off my, my wagon, but it does work. These are great tips. Really,
Thank
really.
you. You
Yeah.
know, it's the fasts and any diets, they work if you are committed to it. But
Yep.
that's not the lifestyle. So when I work with individuals, unless they are ready to do something drastic, baby steps is what gets us far. So anybody who's listening, like just keep in mind that baby steps will get you far as long as you keep those and you are rebuilding a new lifestyle.
Yeah. No, it's true. I
And
mean,
then you understand what works and what doesn't.
yep. And everybody's different. So what works for Nancy might not work for you. What works for Victoria might not work for you. So
Absolutely.
find your balance. Find what works for you. Because for me, waking up at 5, people go like, "Wow, you wake up at 5 every day?" Yeah, I'm like 7 days a week. I wake up, and there's no exceptions. It's just how it is. 5 a.m. every
Yeah.
single day. If I don't do it, I'm completely off balance. Um, but yeah, I can wake up at 5 and go back to sleep at 7 in the morning, especially on a Sunday. So another question to you, before we get off this topic of health and stress and mental health. Um, what are some of the techniques some people can do in terms of um, truly like I know you gave us tips on how to meal prep and all of that. What are some of the things that people can do in that day to day? Because not everybody wants to see a therapist. Not everybody can afford a coach. In their day to day to take care of their mental health itself.
Mm-hmm.
Other than what you've given us, yes, understand your gut, understand all of that. What are some of the day to day that people can do, like easy stuff?
Um, it so first, really, it is all about the mental or the emotional awareness. Well, not all, but it does start with the emotional awareness. Understand you can journal. So if you feel kind of off balance, if you feel frustration, anger, regret, having the awareness to stop yourself and say, oh, I have to either release this, or why is this keep coming back? You can journal about it. The other thing that helps mental health, and then you can shift yourself and just really try to look at it like, oh, how can I incorporate more happy thoughts, or do something that makes me feel thrive?
Yes.
Because one thing I always tell throughout my classes and seminars is that when we feel depleting emotions, our body produces a lot of cortisol that puts us in a survival state. In survival state, we cannot heal, we cannot operate, we are not performing our best. So if somebody is trying to heal from a health condition, if somebody is trying to be their best at work or at home, any reason is good enough to cut the survival mode or reduce it and shift ourselves to something that really serves us. So just being more mindful about it. It's a journey, and it takes those steps every day, that you can journal, you can do the breathing, you can do this breathing morning, lunch, evening time, anytime. What's more, I even encourage clients to set your phone an alarm to stop yourself in the middle of the day or 2 p.m. and say, this is my 5-minute self-care time. When I put some music on, when I step outside, where I just change the scene, get up from the table or from your desk every 2 hours to stretch yourself, to change the scene, to get moving. So those help. Have to-do lists. That's also important. The more you have up here, the more chaotic it's gonna feel. So have to-do list. Try to work on being more organized, because if it's on paper, you're no longer carrying it in your head. And then you can get a lot more clarity. Also, try to work on your time management. Many times people feel stressed when they are firefighting all the time, or when they are procrastinating and carrying the burden of procrastination and know that, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, but I just can't get myself. So having that awareness is also important. Knowing what we can delegate that has to be done. We don't have to do everything. Acknowledging we don't have to do everything. It's okay to ask for help. Some things don't have to be kind of taken care of. Or it's not our responsibility. We don't have to take the world's problems on our shoulders. Yes. And then also the other things that we have to do, doctor's visits, talking to, whether it's teachers or attending, events, make sure that you schedule it on your calendar. So it's not kind of like last minute, I don't have time for this. And all of a sudden you're stressing about something important you're missing. So there's a lot about time management too. Work on essentialism, like make sure that you carve out time to have quality sleep, for some playtime, whatever that is, whether it's sport, whether it's going for hikes, biking, whether it's dancing, being with friends, anything that's important to you, make sure that you schedule that. And it's amazing how many things will fall away. Once I heard that idea that when too many things are priority, nothing is a priority. And we have this constant problem of like, everything is important. Well, there may be, but if you start categorizing, Warren Buffett has this idea that, the to list idea, you write 25 things down that are very important. Then you take the 5 most important things, you put it in another column, and you forget about the other 20. Because until you take care of the most important things and you have them embedded, incorporated in your life, in your daily routine, the rest will not be taken care of. So make sure you give yourself that foundation. Goes back to morning routine, evening routine, hydration, just understanding that you're worth it. We're worth it. If we are not looking after ourselves, nobody else will. And then we cannot give to others.
Definitely. I thank you for that. That's a lot of things that we can do anywhere in the world. You can just make a shift of your life in a way that will work for you. It's definitely true. You cannot give what you don't have. If you don't have energy, you cannot give it to other people.
Yeah.
And how you show up matters. A lot of great stuff in there. Making a list. I need to go back to making my list. 25 things, cut it
Yeah.
down. Yep, I love it.
And the other thing I learned is that having kids, we try to tell them what to do, and many
Uh-huh.
times we don't do it ourselves. And kids will kind of see that. And the best lesson or the best gift we can give our kids is really walking the walk
It's so
and just showing them how it's done and
yeah.
say nothing, because then they will feel inspired and give a lot more respect for our words.
1000%. I completely agree with that. So we're shifting gears. You, my dear, I mean, you come from a background of chemist. Your parents were a chemist, and I was fortunate enough, guys. She sent me her amazing moisturizing. I'm into oils. It's so, I mean, it's smooth. You could see my skin, it's
You're
glowing.
glowing.
You can see my skin, it
I
is
wonder why.
glowing. Yes, her product, her moisturizer. I mean, I'll let you explain it. I have the renewal, which was the hand. I've been using it, so you could see from here, guys. The
And
bottle is beautiful. Love it, love it,
I've
love it,
got
love,
it
love the
here.
packaging. Yes. So just explain how this came about. What inspired you to create this amazing product?
Thank you so much for your kind words. I mean, this is, I'd say, an accidental product or a love child that just happened. I never set out to make organic skincare products, but as I was doing health coaching, um, I was doing a lot. People were asking about cancer prevention, and given
Mm,
my mom's story, she passed away because of melanoma. Cancer awareness is has been always relevant. And so when I came to a group of women and they asked me to talk about cancer prevention,
mm,
uh, really then it comes to the forefront of the conversation is that the skin is our largest organ. Too many women struggle with breast cancer, lymphatic issues, because what we put on our body is full of chemicals. Nothing is clean, really.
yep.
That's one thing. And then the other is I have a lot of awareness about some qualities of food and products like mold, histamines, because myself, I'm very sensitive to things. And so I started to dabble with the balm that you just showed, the skin like hand balm. It's great for cuticles, cuts, burns. I started to play with that. Like I grew up, mom and dad used to make these body creams in the pharmacy. I mean, it was normal. And once I saw my sister making it, and I'm like, you can kind of like make that, and just reminded me that I'm like, I could totally do something. And so the more I kind of played with the ingredients and went cleaner and cleaner. Oh, because that was the other thing is I used, and I'm sure many people use like just coconut oil because we're
Yeah.
told that, oh, coconut oil is great for you. Well, coconut oil is not really great and it has a lot of mold in it. And has the qualities that it really just dry oil that doesn't absorb your skin doesn't absorb it. I started to look at the ingredients that truly nourish your skin. Do not have those oils that many vegan or clean products use, that is like almond oil, that are just, either irritating, people have allergies, or
Mhm.
just cheap oils like, sunflower oil or something like that. So I designed the balm to be very nourishing. And the more people use, the more they were like, well, I am diabetic and this is healing my skin problems. Nothing
Mhm.
else has. I had a major cut and I put this on and it healed within days. You've got to put a label on it. So that's how the balm came about. And then
Nice.
because it has beeswax in it, it's too heavy for daily use for our face. So I started to play, and that was during COVID, started to play with an oil. What can I put on my face? And still people are like, you're glowing. You're like, what are you putting on your face? And I'm like, I'm just playing with some oils. Doesn't clog your pores. And so I came up with a combination of very pure oils: pomegranate seed oil, baobab, carrot seed oil, rosehip seed, sea buckthorn, to really nourish your skin. And then I added some essential oils that don't only work with your wrinkles, but it actually helps your nervous system, because essential oils are high frequency. And you know that even if you put a little bit on your temples or on your wrist, it can help calm us down. Essential oils are very powerful.
Yeah.
So that's all that goes in the products. No preservatives, no water, nothing else. It's just pure goodness. So that's how it came about. And now it has a label on it. And everything you see is pretty much, I make the formula. I make it at home. And so it's kind of still growing.
No, it's amazing. I love it. And even with the renewal, the balm itself, it's really good because I get ashy on my hands, and that's what I use it for. A lot of my hands, my elbows, my feet a lot, because if I'm wearing heels, I want to make sure that
Yeah.
my legs don't get
Yes.
ashy. But yeah, this is a really good product. I'm so proud of what you've been able to make, and especially
Thank you.
in the space where everything is contaminated with so much in it. I'm big on what I put in my body and what I put on my body, because it goes hand in hand. As much as you want to exercise, as much as you want to eat healthy, it also matters what you're putting on your skin. I've suffered with acne for a very long time. This also has helped me with my acne as well.
Yay.
I used to break out a lot. No, I used to break out a lot, especially for women. This is an adult show. During the months where you're about to get your periods, I would break out around my chin a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't broken up around my chin at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
no, I used to
fantastic.
break. I used to have a lot of acne around
Yeah.
my chin, but now I don't. Like I tried it. I was like, let me try this because I've tried so many products. I mean, Sephora, I would go get
Mm-hmm.
return it because it didn't work for me, and I would use expensive products. I've used a lot of products just to try to get. I've suffered with acne from the age of 16. It's just
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I heard many women say that when they have acne, or when they had acne and they started using the serum, it really cleared it up. It's really great for sensitive skin too, because it is just healing all over.
Yeah, no, my skin is very sensitive. I would encourage anybody who has sensitive skin or they have kids that have sensitive skin,
Yeah.
because my mom used to try every little thing to try to have my acne. It was everywhere. Too much. Thank God we didn't have, in the world of pictures now, we didn't have that. So, but you would, too much. Self-confidence goes down. Okay. Yeah, but
Oh, you're
thank you for
beautiful.
this. Thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Anything else you want to share that I haven't asked you that's weighing heavy on your heart that you would like to share? Because you've shared so many great things with us here.
Well, thank you so much. Just one thing about the serum and the product is, you mentioned Sephora, and I am trying to keep it kind of as a small business, because I want to make it accessible to people on a very, kind of accessible price with the highest quality. As soon as things go big and you can buy it in the store, you're really kind of losing the quality or the quantity. And so thank you so much for the shout out, because I really am I'm trying to bring quality to people. And I know I've got so many people who've been coming back for years now and using just these products, men, women. So thank you so much. You actually connected me with Lady Michelle. We got
Yes.
the project 55 Faces. And I'd love to share a little bit about it because that was another journey. That was another kind of like experience.
Just
Being an immigrant.
before you go into it, I just want to remind everybody we have an episode with Michelle Gardner, and you guys can check her out. She is huge on telling our stories
Mhm.
internationally. Sometimes she does it per continent. She just closed one for African women. Um, it's phenomenal. You get to meet so many people. You get to be in a community where women celebrate each other, and you get to learn from people's stories. Listen to her episode. And we also have Agnes. Agnes is part of 55 Faces as well. So you've heard her episode. If you haven't, just go back to those episodes. And if you want to join, let me know. I'll introduce you. So yes, I'm so glad you bring that up actually. How did it
Thank you.
go? How did it go? How was the process?
It was challenging. Because you have to tell who you are in the world. And I did start with some of the things we talked about, and I told you about myself, and it's like,
Yeah.
I was born in Hungary and this is what happened. And I'm like, but this is not me. This is just what happened to me, and this is my journey, but that's not who I am in the world.
Yeah.
And it took me about 3 weeks of deep diving into kind of like really getting to the essence
Yeah.
of what I'm about. And so it's been an interesting exercise. And I cannot wait for the book to come out and share my story. Because the story really is in that book is that going back to the inner child, to that 10-year-old who lost mom and lost security,
Mm,
and understanding what that little kid needs to bring her dreams come true, to feel healthy and safe,
mm,
because that was a big part of also mental and emotional health development, coming to terms to what happened, letting go,
mm,
forgiving a lot, to whether it's past, what I did, what parents did, being okay with it, and then growing from there. And also giving that confidence to that little kid. We all have our little, inner child who hasn't grown up.
yep.
And it is so important that no matter where you go in the world, no matter where you are from, we all have that little voice who may not have been heard for many.
Yeah.
And so to become the best, version of ourselves, achieving our dreams and being brave in the world, we have to make sure that that kid is taken care of, that the needs of that kid. And many times, people don't have the parents who really will understand because they carry their own issues and their own set of values that can hurt us because they just don't know any better.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of burden we are carrying, everybody.
Yeah.
And so getting to that deep dive of really understanding, I feel really changed and reborn. And so that was amazing. Just to letting go and being brave enough to do what that kid dreamt about, because what that kid dreamt about is really what I'm doing today.
Lovely.
And what my plans are, really growing the audience, crossing borders, really just reaching human lives and enriching them is what I am about. And just believing that, I dare to go for it. And then what we want for women, that's another part of this chapter, is that, as you said, where women support women, I do believe that we can be stronger if we fix each other's crowns,
Yes.
and just also show how strong we can be through our vulnerability.
Yeah.
To show our daughters that we don't have to be perfect. I think too many women struggle, especially these days, um, with all the options that we can do, and we work and we're super moms and we are like the fitness gurus and the goddesses in the kitchen and we have to do everything, but we don't. And it's okay because we're human beings at the end of the day. But the burden and the stress puts on our shoulders is immense. So that is part of mental health, acknowledging what we have to do, what we don't have to do, and we
Yeah.
don't have to sacrifice ourselves on the altar of motherhood either. So that's another important part. And then the last thing that I really just understood is that until we have our right tribe, our support system, the right partner who is emotionally supportive of us being okay with who we are, and will say, you do you, I don't want you to change, and I've got the confidence in you,
Yes.
you've got this, is just makes the just the whole difference. And but for that, finding that person, we need to really dig deep, go back to what we need. How can we be strong in ourselves so that the right person will come along and will see us for who we are, and we won't feel the need to change so much just to please the other person or please the people around us, and being strong in our own power. For the longest time, I was told by some therapists and energy workers, like, own your power and stand in your power. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it until I was taught.
Yeah.
Through love and care and just acceptance. Just huge.
It's huge. You've what you've just said is so important to all of us. And I have learned a lot of the things that you've said along the way through my healing journey. Vulnerability is for sure a superpower. And the fact that we women, not forgetting you men, we love you, but for
Yes.
a lot of women, we wear so many hats and we want to come out as, I'm the super this, I'm the super this. But when we are vulnerable and we're able to share that, even with our kids, they can see the human being in
Yes.
you. And I even love what you just said, that acceptance of ourselves. And I think when we get to know ourselves and we're comfortable and secure in ourselves, we're able to pick the right partners that
Yes.
are able to accept us for
Yes.
who we are. And we're not also trying to change other people.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
accepting other people is all about insecurity and being secure with yourself. When you're secure with yourself, you know exactly what you want in life.
Yes.
No matter what anybody else says, because everybody's going to have an opinion. They're going to look at something and have an opinion. It's going to be there. Some people just don't like you just because. It's life. I don't know why, but it's just how it is. It's just, some people are just like, I just don't like this person. It's life. However, it's just when you are secure with yourself, I think you get to make the right decisions. And I love the part of healing the inner child. I did my exercise when I read the healing book. I wrote letters for anybody who's listening. You can write letters. I wrote letters to my mom. This exercise, I think I've shared it before. You write letters to whoever you feel has hurt you from the time you were born to where you are today. I wrote letters to each and every one, including the ones that have passed. My dad passed. I wrote a letter to him. The exercise, you're supposed to send those, but I didn't in my case. Because one of the letters was to my ex-husband, and I didn't even know his address, whatever it is. I burnt all the letters, but it was such a relief. I didn't know how much I was hurt as a child and some of the things that I witnessed. So I love it, healing the inner child, because first of all, our
Yeah.
parents did what they could do
Exactly.
and what they knew how to do. everybody's parenting, everybody's way of doing things is how they were taught growing
Yes,
up. My parenting is getting changed because I'm in a different environment. And also the environment contributes. The way I grew up is completely different from the way my kids are growing up.
absolutely.
And healing that inner child has helped me have more confidence in myself and be secure in myself as well, and be accepting of others and not be so judgmental. I'm far from judging people than the way I used to be. Like, oh my God. After I went through that process, it was really life-changing for me. It was life-changing. If you can do
Yes.
it, I would encourage anybody to do it. It's life-changing. You can write letters, and it's such a release. It's such a release. I would encourage it. I just wanted
You
to
know,
add my 2 cents.
no, thank you so much. It reminded me of two things. One is for women, and again, we love you, man, and we want you to be healthy because men's mental health is another
Oh,
story, and
yes.
I do work with that subject as well. But for women, women are a lot more prone to develop autoimmune health issues
Mm.
than men. Probably, you know, probably like 4 out of 5 autoimmune sufferers are women. So for us being emotionally aware and not carry burdens and being aware of our environment's energies goes back to heart focused breathing, what we talked at the very beginning
Yeah.
about, feeling the strength, the courage, the calm, because we absorb it. When you absorb your energy, your environment's energy, that your nervous system translates. That's how, and puts us in a survival state. That's when illness happens, and that's when it develops over years. For me, it's been a long journey because I grew up with a lot of stress and a lot of trauma. There's just mom passing away was one thing. There was a lot of traumatic events that happened.
Yeah.
Didn't have a good relationship with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a whole process. So I wanted to say, women, it's important that we work with our emotional awareness. And then the other thing I wanted to say is I do write letters too, even today when I'm upset. And
Oh,
I want to say something to the person, but I really don't want to say it to the person.
yes.
I write it down, and here is the benefit of that. I teach a lot of nonviolent communication in my program. But what it does when you start writing a letter, again, you become aware of what the issue is, because many times what the issue we're talking about is not the issue. It's about maybe respect or love or just something else. So
Mm-hmm.
once you start journaling and writing down, you start to understand what the issue is, how you feel about it, and what you need. And many times we don't even know what we need. We just say, this is not good, and complain. And we don't know what we need.
Mm.
So I would go back, writing the letters, whether you keep them, whether you give them away. I keep them all. I've got a folder. And when I read back, even 6 months, back to 6 months, I'm like, what was I talking about? It's all resolved. But it helped me.
Yeah.
And that to me is a powerful tool.
Yeah. No. For those people who have diary, I used to keep a diary. It it's a release tool for you. And I would encourage for anybody to use it. I do the same. I write text messages in my notes and don't send
Mm-hmm.
them. So it's a great thing.
Yes.
It's a great thing. I love it. So how can people sign up for you, and how can people find this lovely product?
Thank you.
First sign up with you as their coach, and then also buy the product.
So thank you so much. Well, everybody can find me through my website. So it's www.levay.co. So it's just CO. And my contact is there. You can find me through Instagram, Facebook as well. You can order the products online. You can just reach me and ask your questions. I do corporate work. So if you are working for an organization where resiliency, well-being, is important. Employee support, civility right now is another big word. I do a lot of seminars, master classes. I go anywhere in the US or outside of the US. So that's no problem. Have done webinars. Also, we'll take anybody on one-on-one coaching. It works wonderful through Zoom. And I do have some events. Well, right now in Cleveland, I can tell you that the next event is already sold out, 50 seats.
Oh,
And they went
nice.
within a week. So I'm
Congratulations.
very excited.
Nice.
And so we've got some events coming up. So just stay tuned on Instagram, website, and feel free to reach out. I'd love to support you as an individual or the organization or women's groups as well. That's the other thing I'm doing for the city is working with women.
Victoria, this has been so informative. I've learned a lot. You've reminded
Thank
me
you.
some of the things that I stopped doing. I've been nudged to now continue to do it, to get back to them, actually. You are a prime example of what you do. I mean, you live it, you breathe it. It's just there. You look at her, guys. She's in great shape,
I'm trying.
glowing, beautiful, and she lives and talks. She walks the walk of what she does. So for anybody again who is interested, don't hesitate to reach out.
Please.
Your health matters. You come first. We all have our own roles in our jobs that we do. She's certified to be a coach. I encourage anybody to have a coach. It's important to get better in what you are doing. That's why we have trainers at the gym. But everybody has their role. So please don't hesitate.
Thank you so much.
This has been an honor to have you on. I appreciate you for taking time. I know your schedule is super packed. So thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. The honor is mine. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.